Hi guys, welcome back to Political Predictions. Today we will be discussing how will the Electoral College look like in 2044. As you can see, it looks like a whole like a new map. You can see California, you can noticeably see that it will lose 4 electoral votes from 54 to 50 in 2044. And Arizona will gain 3 from 11 to 14. New Mexico is going to lose 1 because I feel like New Mexico's growth is very stagnant. Texas will gain 3, and Texas will gain 3. Louisiana gains nothing. Mississippi, stagnant. Alabama loses 1. And Florida will gain 2 electoral votes, probably 1 each. 1 in every election cycle. Georgia, I could see that possibly gaining. South Carolina, gaining an electoral vote. So this entire Deep South, most of it, will be gaining an electoral vote. North Carolina, I can see. Virginia gains 1. And while you see the Rust Belt losing, so Wisconsin goes down from 10 to 8, Michigan goes down from 15 to 13, Illinois goes down from 19 to 17, Indiana goes down from 11 to 10, Ohio goes down from 17 to 16, where I think it might remain stagnant, depending on it. But you'll also see Delaware gaining an electoral vote, Maryland losing an electoral vote, Delaware gaining an electoral vote. New Jersey gaining 1 from 14 to 15. Connecticut loses 1, so you guys get the notion. So I think this is what most likely the 2044 electoral map. So because in 2040 they'll be using those same one from the 2030 census. They'll be using it. So the new map won't go in effect until 2044, and then 2048, and then the new map is drawn again for 2052. Anyway, that's not the point, but let's just see how politics is going to change. One of you guys requested that I do this video, so I decided I'll do it. Alright, so I think the Democratic safe states will include Washington, Oregon. I think these are becoming more liberal states. I think California will always be a liberal state, no matter what. Hawaii, same thing. But definitely I can see Colorado will be solid blue by 2044. I can also expect, like New York, I think that'll be solid blue no matter what. Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, maybe I think it'll narrow. Maybe Rhode Island, due to it still has a very large Democratic presence. But it very depends. But we'll just put Rhode Island as solid. I think Maine's 1st district is growing at a healthy rate, so I think it'll be safe for the Democrats. Virginia, I can see that being being a safe Democratic state because the Northern Virginia suburbs are growing, and the Virginia Beach area is growing, and that is favoring Democrats. So that's why I do see it being a Democratic stronghold by 2044. I think Arizona actually I don't think Arizona would be a Democratic stronghold. So Maryland, I think that'll be a Democratic stronghold, even though it loses 1, but still, you have Baltimore and many areas are in the D.C. area, and D.C. of course will be safe. Delaware, I think that'll be safe blue for like a time being. It's going to be safe blue. Due to Wilmington's population growth there. Yeah, that's all I see for being safe Democratic states. Now, safe Republican states. Republicans aren't going to have too many. It'll pretty much be the Dakotas, Nebraska's 3rd, Oklahoma, Arkansas, maybe not Louisiana because I think the black population there is growing. You have Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Iowa, and Ohio I think will be safe GOP. And, oops, not Michigan. Why would I don't think Michigan will be like safe GOP. And, yeah, that's all I see. So Republicans have 81 safe electoral votes. I think Indiana will be safe too. Safe GOP in 2044. Anyway, this is what the map will look like. So 91 safe Republican electoral votes and 160 safe Democratic electoral votes. onto the likely Democratic states. Definitely I think Arizona will be a likely Democratic state. Through the chart. Oops. Oops. Sorry, guys. I just had to turn off chart lane. So I think Arizona will be a likely Democratic state. It'd be like high likely. Like maybe within maybe 12 to 15% for the Democrat. I definitely see Georgia being a likely Democratic state. And North Carolina. So the Sun Belt becomes likely Democratic. Likely Democratic. I could see Nevada being a likely Democratic state. Population growth and trends could favor Democrats. And I don't know how Nebraska's second will be drawn, but let's just assume that it maintains the same shape. I think it'll be likely. And I think that's all I see, being likely Democratic. Being likely Dem states. I think the easiest ones were Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. Were the easiest. Oh, I think New Jersey would be... Actually, probably not. I think Connecticut would be a likely Democratic. Connecticut would be a likely Democratic state. Sorry, guys. It's very hard. Politics in 20 years. Things can change. So, it's hard to predict how each state's going to vote. Now, the likely Republican states, I definitely see Wisconsin being a likely Republican state. Oh, Illinois will be a likely margin. So, Wisconsin will be a likely Republican state. I still do think Nebraska at large will be likely Republican in 2040s. Mississippi and Louisiana, I think those would be likely Republican states. Oh, Missouri would be safe red. Sorry, guys. Missouri's gonna be safe red. And yeah, that's all I see. Republicans don't have that many likely states. And I think Maine's second will be solid R. Now onto the lean Democratic states. Definitely I do think Minnesota will be lean. I know this is controversial. It is moving to the right. But I think population growth in Minneapolis and its nearby suburbs, combined with St. Paul, Duluth, though I think it's going to keep Minnesota blue. And plus it's very college educated. It's for one of the most educated states in the country. Because of that, Minnesota's, and plus we know educated voters tend to favor Democrats. So I think it'll remain a Democratic state. Although it may be a lot more swingy than it was before. New Hampshire, I think that'll be lean Democratic because it's much like New England, although it might move a little to the right. But I think it'll make a lean Democratic state. New Jersey, I think that'll be lean. Well, it is growing in terms of population. It's a Democratic stronghold, but I definitely see it could trend a little bit to the right. But I think it'll still be a lean D state, and probably at worst, it'll be a lean D state. Due to how it's trending and how conservative centers like Ocean, Sussex are growing. Texas, I think that would be a lean blue state by 2044. Population growth in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Austin are growing at a rate that it's pretty much gonna overtake the state. So those 5 counties alone could help Democrats. Plus they're improving in the suburbs of Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Austin suburbs. So definitely I do see Texas being a lean blue state. I also see New Mexico being lean blue. The oil workers are moving to the right as the Democratic Party moves left on the environment. The oil workers would move to the right, but I think New Mexico's Hispanic population, and given how they vote, will keep the state blue. Although I don't want to be a racist. I'm not intending to be racist here. Saying all Hispanics vote blue. Like, that's basically saying, like, no, all white people vote Republican, which is clearly not true. I think that's all I see being likely for lean blue. Now the lean red states, I definitely see Pennsylvania being lean red. Utah, I also see that being a lean Republican state as well. And Florida, I think that would be a lean Republican state. Although it could be likely Republican, but if Democrats, but we don't know whether no Democrats will reevaluate their ways and make an outreach to the Cuban American community, proving that they're not socialists. And plus, the Cuban voter demographic will be younger in 2044, which do lean more leftward than their parents and grandparents were. So, I think Florida will be a competitive state for the time being. Nebraska's first district, I think, will be a lean margin. And I think Maine at large will be lean as well for the Democrats. If you guys notice the verge of swing state, we'll put that in the very end of the video. And yeah, I think Montana might be a lean R state. Although it could swing now. I think it could be a swing state sometime soon. Now the tilty states. I know Kansas, South Carolina, and Alaska. Actually, I don't think Kansas, not yet. I think South Carolina, Alaska are going to be tilty states because Alaska, its native population, its native voters are growing. What happened to my recorder? So its native population is growing. The cities, Juneau and Fairbanks, are becoming less and less Republican, becoming more Democratic every day. So probably by 2040, I could see that flip. South Carolina, same thing with the upstate, which is Greenville. Cities of Greenville is becoming less and less conservative. Myrtle Beach, that is becoming less and less conservative every day. And I think they will become Democratic soon. Become a swing. So I think that can help South Carolina. And population growth in Columbia and Charleston. And plus with Democrats doing better in Charleston suburbs, I could see that being a tilt D state. So with that, pretty much most of the 95 corridor is solid blue, except Florida, Pennsylvania, and Maine at large. Now in the tilt Republican states. I think this is a hard one. Probably I will put Kansas in the tilt R states. And, I think Michigan will really be the one that swings. So I think Michigan would be the big swing state. So I think Michigan would be very hard to classify. Because if Michigan does make a turnaround, like with Detroit growing again, plus Michigan has some population growth in some areas, so that could probably help it with its Democratic lean. Keep up its Democratic lean, although I think it could become Republican soon, but I think it'll be a pure swing state. So in my opinion, I think the verge of swing, definitely I do think by 2044, the pure swing states will be South Carolina, Florida, Utah, Montana, Kansas, New Mexico, Texas, Alaska will probably be swing states. Pennsylvania will probably always be a swing state. And New Hampshire, that'll be a swing state. Where on the verge of swing, I can definitely see Illinois being on the verge of being a swing state. Nebraska could be a swing district. Minnesota could be on the verge of being a swing state, like it could lean. But I think Minnesota will be a contested swing state for the while. New Jersey, I could see that being on the verge of being a swing state. Delaware, I think that could be verge. Connecticut would be a verge of being a swing state. A swing state. And I think Maine at large would be a swing state. Anyway, guys, so that's 156 swing electoral votes, 43 electoral votes, plus districts on the verge of being a swing state, and 214 solid blue electoral votes. and 125 solid Republican electoral votes.